Hey everyone, how are you? In this video, we are going to solve the lead code problem of the day, and the problem is partition array such that the max difference is k. Now, the problem category is of medium level, but no, I would say this is actually a very easy problem to solve, and we have actually solved a similar problem yesterday. So, yesterday's problem of the day was very similar to what we can see right now, and that's why I say that this is actually a very easy problem and not a medium problem. Let us try to understand what is the given input in the problem, and then we will see how can we solve it. The given input in the problem is an integer array, and let us call it as nums, and the size of the array is n. N means how many elements you have in nums. You have n elements. There is also one more input which is given, that is a positive integer, and let us call it as k. So we are given total two inputs, the nums which is the integer array and k which is the positive integer. The value of k can be 0, so I would say it's a positive integer or 0. Now the output which we need to give in this problem is the minimum number of partition of subsequences or groups. That is, what's the minimum number of partition or subsequence or groups we can create from the given array nums. We are going to understand how to create the partition using the task. Now let us try to understand what's the task based on which we need to create the partition. So we need to create a subsequences or groups from the given array nums. That is, whatever the array is given to us, the nums array, we need to create subsequence or subarray or groups from the given array nums. And each element of the nums array can be the part of just one group. So for example, if the nums array is 1, 2, 3, and if you want to break it into two groups or two subsequences, then one of the subsequence can be 1, 3, and one of the subsequence or group can be 2. So you will notice that the element 1 is just in one group, the element 2 is just in one group, and the element 3 is just in one group. You cannot just say that if the numbers are 1, 2, 3, so you cannot create a group like 1, 2 and 2, 3. This 2 cannot be in two different groups. That's the second point here. Each element of the given array nums can be the part of just one group. And the third condition, which is a very important condition, is difference between max and the minimum element in each of the group we create cannot be more than k. That is, if you are given an array nums and if you want to break it, let's say in 5 groups, then the difference between maximum element and the minimum element in each of the group, in each of the 5 group, cannot be more than k. K is given in the input. That's a positive integer or can be 0 as well. So k is given in the input, and you need to be sure that whenever you are creating a subsequence or a group from the given array nums, the difference between the max and the min element in each of the group should not be more than k. It can be up to k. For example, if the value of k is 2, then the difference between max and minimum can be 0, 1, 2. Can be up to 2, but cannot be more than 2. Cannot be 3, cannot be 4, cannot be 5, right? So this is what we need to understand here, that based on the given input, we just need to break our array nums into multiple groups, but the output which we need to give is what's the minimum number of partition or subsequence we can create. That is, we need to break the array nums into different groups only if required, based on these kind of conditions we have, right? You should not try to break your array into many groups. You should try to minimize the number of partition which you can create. And now let us try to understand the same using an example. So example is, when the given array nums is 3, 6, 1, 2, 5. There are total 5 elements and the value of k is 2. Now in this case, you might say that, okay, if I have to return the minimum number of partition which I need to create, then I will not create any partition, and I will just say that this complete group or this complete set of array is just one partition I have. So the output can be 1, right? That's the minimum number of groups or partition you can have. But the thing is, if you just create one group, let us say this is one group, okay? And now what is the maximum out of it? It is 6. What is the minimum? It is 1. Their difference is 5. They have a difference of 5, right? 6 minus 1 is 5. But the question says that the difference cannot be more than k in any group, right? Right now it is more than k. It means that 6 and 1, these two elements cannot be in the same group. If they will be in the same group, this is going to be the max, this is going to be the min, and the difference is going to be 5, which is more than k. So it says that we need to break our group, or we need to make a partition in our group. So the partitions, the possible partitions are 3, 1, 2. 3, 1, 2. These three elements can be in one group because the maximum is 3, the minimum is 1. Their difference is 3 minus 1, which is 2, which is fine, right? The difference can be up to k. The other group can be 6 and 5. This is the second group we have. The maximum is 6, the minimum is 5. The difference is 6 minus 5, which is 1. So we can create two groups. That's the minimum number of groups we need to create, because if we just don't partition our array and just create one group, that is, we say that this whole array is one group, then there is one issue, right? 6 and 1 are the max and min. So the difference is more than k. But if we just break it into not one but two groups, this is the first, this is the second, in both the groups the condition is satisfied, right? So we can say the output is going to be 2. That's the minimum number of groups we need to create of our array nums. Now again, let us try to solve the question in the same way. Let us say this is the whole one group we have. Now, do we have a problem when we have this whole group as 1? Yes, the max element is 5, the min element is 2, their difference is 5 minus 2, which is 3, and 3 is more than k, right? So it means 2 and 5 cannot stay together. So we can say, okay, let us say 2 and 2, these two elements are one group, 4 and 5 are one group. But this 2 and 2 is fine because in this group, the max is 2, the min is 2, their difference is 0, which is equal to k, but not more than k, right? But in the other group where 4 and 5 are there, the max is 5, the min is 4, their difference is 1, so they cannot stay together. And if they cannot stay together, they will have to be broken into different groups. So 4 will form a different group, 5 is going to form a different group. Now you will see that in this group, the max is 4, the min is 4, their difference is 0. In this group, the max is 5, the min is 5, their difference is 0, which is not more than k, but equal to k, which is fine. So we need to break our data into 3 groups. That's the minimum number of groups we need to break our data so that all the conditions are satisfied. So this is the first, this is the second, and this is the third group. So the output in this case is 3. So I think that now you are clear with what the question says, what do we need to do. But what about the solution approach? Now, before I reveal the solution approach, I want you guys to answer one question, that what is the goal we have in this particular problem? See, the goal is to break our data into multiple groups. But what is the condition based on which we are breaking the data? The condition is the max and the minimum element should be as close as possible. It should not be too far away. When I say too far or too close, I'm talking about their difference. How close are they to each other? For example, 1 and 2 are very close to each other compared to 1 and 6, right? And the goal of this question is, the goal of the particular problem is to make sure that the elements which are close enough are together. So based on this, I can say that the goal is to keep the difference between the maximum and the minimum element within an array or group as low as possible. And particularly if I say it should be less than or equal to k. The thing is, if I have three numbers 1, 2 and 3, I can group them together. Even though they are very close, I can group them together if the value of k is equal to 2, right? Because the max element is 3, the min is 1. If the value of k is equal to 1, I cannot group 3 and 1 together. But if the value is 2, I can group them together, right? But now let us say the input is 1, 8, 9, 4, 5 and 2 and 3. And now if the value of k is equal to 2, again we can group 1, 2 and 3 together. But they are very far from each other, right? It will be very difficult to find out that after 1, do we have some element which I can make a group of with 1. After 1 we have 8, we cannot make a group with 8. We have 9, we cannot make a group of 1 and 9. With 4 also we cannot make a group. With 5 also we cannot, but with 2 and with 3 we can make based on the value of k. The thing is, the question says that the difference between the max and the min element should be less than or equal to k. So we have a leverage that the difference can be up to k, but when it says that it can be less than or equal to k, so I can say if the k is 2, the difference can be 2, but the difference can be 1 and 0 as well. It means that the difference can be as low as possible, can be 0 as well. It means that the elements which are close together have a higher chance of being in the same group. And that is why it suggests us to group the similar numbers or the close numbers together. And if we just do sorting of our data, the numbers which are close together, for example, if the input is 1, 8, 9, 4, 5, 2 and 3. Now, if the value of k is equal to 1, we can make a group of 1 and 2 together, but we cannot make a group of 1 and 3 together, right? But still, if you will notice here, if the data would have been sorted, instead of this data, if the data would have been sorted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 and 9, and the value of k is equal to 1, it would be very easy to group the elements. I can say, okay, 1 and 2 can be together, 1 and 3 cannot be together because the value of k is 1, but if the value of k would have been 2, 1 and 3 could have been together. So now the numbers which are very close to each other, for example 4 and 5 or 1 and 3, they will be together, they will not be far away. And that is why we will make use of sorting. We will just sort the data, and this is going to be the simplest solution for this problem. The simple solution approach, sort the data. If you see the input is 3, 6, 1, 2, 5 and the value of k is 2. Right now if I ask you try to solve this question without any programming language, then what can you do? Right now the array is having just 5 elements, so it might be very easy. You can just see the question, see the input and solve it. You can say, okay, 3, 1, 2 can be together, 6 and 5 can be together. But let us say the input is very large. The input is having 500 elements. Now you need to solve this question on a pen and paper, right? Then you can have a lot of different way to solve it. One of the ways you can say, okay, if 3 is the first element I have in my first group, is the next element 6 can be grouped with 3? Okay, we can say 3 and 6 can be in the same group. No, they cannot be in the same group because right now the minimum is 3, the maximum is 6, their difference is 3. So the allowed difference is 2. So they cannot be in the same group. So now you might say, okay, if 6 cannot be in the same group, let's leave it. Let us talk about 3. Can it be in the same group with 1? Yes, they can be in the same group because the difference is 2. Now what about if I have group 3, 1? Can 2 be the part of it? Yes, it can be the part of it because right now the group is 3, 1. If 2 is added to the group, 2 is not the maximum, not the minimum. So the difference between max and minimum element will be the same. What about 5? When 5 is added to the group, 5 becomes a max and 1 is the min. The difference is 4. It cannot be in the same group. Now this is a very hard process because if you create a group of 3, 1, 2, you will have to keep a track of it, that what are the elements which are used, and then you will try to process for the other elements, and it is a very hard process from memory wise as well and from managing the solution. But what if you just do the sorting? The simple solution: sort the data, then 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 is your data. The value of k is equal to 2. Now if I ask you create the group, you would say okay, let me try to create the group. The first element in my group is going to be 1. That's the one we have, and this 1 is always going to be the minimum because the data is sorted. So whatever data is being added to the group next is going to be more than 1, right? So this is my minimum. What about the next data? The next data is always going to be the maximum, right? Because the data is sorted from left to right. So this is the minimum, this is the maximum. If 3 is added, 3 is the maximum, minimum is not going to change. If 5 is added, 5 is the max, min is not going to change. So this is the concept. That is why we are sorting the data. First element is 1, second element is 2. Now I'm asking you guys, tell me, if the minimum is 1, the new element is the maximum 2, their difference is 1. So is it possible to create a group of 1 and 2 together? Yes, they can be in the same group because the value of k is 2. The max allowed difference is 2. I can say 1 and 2 are in the same group. In this group, the minimum is not going to change because the data is sorted. So this data is always going to be the min. This data is the max. But the next data we have in our nums is 3. This is going to be the max again because the data is sorted. So all the magic is being done by sorting the data. We choose 3. We say okay, 3 can be the part of the group because the minimum is 1, the max is 3, their difference is 2, which is fine. What about 5? Can 5 be the part of the group? Minimum is 1, maximum is 5, difference is 4, cannot be the part of the group because the value of k is 2. So in this case, we will say we form one group. The group is having 3 elements, 1, 2 and 3. We have total one group. Because remember, what the output we need to give is the minimum number of partition. We need to tell how many partition we need to do, the minimum number, and not the actual subsequence or group. So we are just going to keep track of how many minimum number of groups we need to create. So we create one group, 1, 2, 3 together. Now the min value is going to change in the next group. We create another group, and this group is having the first element as 5. That's what we have here. And this is going to be the minimum. We add the next data 6 here, and we say that this is the min, this is the max, their difference is 1, which is within the range of k. So they can be in the same group. So we can say 5 and 6 are going to be in the same group. And now we don't have any more elements left. So we create 1 and 2, total 2 groups, right? And that's the output we have in this particular data. So this is the simple concept. Just sort the data and start counting the number of groups. And anytime when you add a number into the existing group and you see that the difference of max and min is going to increase, going to be more than k, you are going to create a new group. So let me show you the solution of this particular problem in Python, and this is going to be very easy to understand. First of all, we are just going to sort our data. So nums.sort. Then the result is going to be 0. That's the number of groups we have. And then the current value, or you can say the minimum value for the current group, is going to be nums of 0. That is the first value in your data. Now for n in nums, you are just going to run a loop in your nums array, and you are going to check if the n, which is the looping variable, minus the current number or the minimum number I have, if their difference is more than k. The moment you see that the difference is more than k, you would say result is equal to result plus 1. That is, you are going to increase the number of group. And you are going to say current is equal to n. That is, now this n will be your current minimum number because now you will be adding the data in the next group. And once you are out of the loop, you are going to say return result plus 1. That is because we are increasing the value of result only when this condition is true. So for the last group which we are having in our data, this condition will never be true, and we are going to come out of the loop because the data has ended in our nums array. So this result variable is going to store the group count for all the previous groups, not the last group. So we are just going to return result plus 1. That plus 1 is for the last group. Now you can submit the particular code, and this is going to pass all the test cases. And this is actually a pretty efficient solution for this particular problem. You can see the runtime is very good. The memory used is very good, right? So we have solved this particular problem, and I think that's it for this video, guys. I hope this video explains you the problem, the solution approach, the thought process behind solving this problem. And if it did, then make sure that you hit that like button. And guys, if you are not subscribed to the channel, then make sure that you subscribe to the channel as well, because it takes a lot of efforts to create videos like this. So it would be really motivating if you could appreciate the efforts as well. But if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, then make sure that you put it in the comment box as well, and I am going to answer it. And I will see you guys in the next video. I'm excited to see you guys in the next video as well. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching this video, guys.